Hello everyone, I hope you're all doing fantastic. My name is Marcello Colax and today we're going to have a look at the European energy markets for the week starting 22nd of July 2024. Can't believe that the year is more than half over already. Okay, so today we will be looking at a few things. So first of all, I want to talk about the TTF and of course by extension the NBP to talk about a few trigger levels that we are currently working with, because we kind of want to know if the upside correction is continuing or if that was kind of it and we will continue lower today or this week. Then I want to talk about the German power daily chart. I want to point your attention to the falling wedge. I want to talk about how we can actually make use of it and trade it. I want to quickly have a look at EUAs and identify what's next before we have a look at Brent, where I want to talk about how we could possibly trade last Friday's steep decline. Okay, so first of all, on the Clever Markets dashboard, we see that the TTF, NBP, all the key markets are pointing lower. Only EUAs are not quite bearish yet on their daily chart, but by some extension, they already are definitely on the intraday chart. We did, for most of them, have a little bit of hesitation intraday, but this might resolve today. Looking at the weekly chart, we can see that all of this is a little bit all over the place, but ultimately the trend, the long-term trend, and by long-term I'm talking about months and months and months, that is still fairly bullish overall. All right, so the results are out. As you know, if you've probably seen it, you are either part of the WhatsApp group or you are seeing, or you saw this on LinkedIn. I do have my weekly survey. We've got more than 100 participants every week, and around half are convinced that the TTF is going to move lower this week. The neutrals and the moving higher, the bulls, are evenly split more or less, but there's an overwhelming amount of bears. So let's see what that actually means for the charts themselves. So here we can see we have the TTF front month, the NBP front month, the TTF and NBP front seasons. We have German power, we have EUAs, Brent, we have coal, we have US gas, and we have LNG. So we can see that the TTF and NBP front month and front season are more or less doing the same thing. So we did have this downtrend and now we corrected higher, yeah, as we can see on all of them. And last week was a little bit nerve-wracking, but nothing really happened as well. We did have this sort of congestion happening. It is not quite a bear flag or a pennant. I mean, maybe on the NBP front, what is this, front season, that might be a pennant, yeah. So it's a tiny triangle essentially. But the other candles, it's a little bit of nothing, just a little bit of a congestion zone. And the idea is that ultimately we can and maybe should also move lower this week. I will show you what happens if it doesn't happen. We see that German power is still steadily moving lower. Yes, last week ended with like a little bit of hesitation, but overall the market is still bearish. We see EUAs. Essentially, there's nothing really against bearishness. We're just talking about a technicality here right now. Brent last week did turn bearish towards the end of last week, especially with this long red candle. And we see that the Henry Hub is still pointing lower, but now we have been dealing with a little bit of an upside correction. Okay, let's move into the individual markets here. So for the TTF, we will be able to see that we pushed below the rectangle on the daily chart quite some time ago, a couple of weeks ago. And we are now retesting this level. So I'm just zooming out for you for a little bit of reference. So you can see this rectangle was holding the market in check for most of, for a couple of months even here. And we are now retesting this completely normal. And now we did retest the rectangle. Now here's the thing. We want to see a real bearish move in order to continue lower. But what is the trigger? Well, for me, the trigger levels are at 31.56 and 33.28. Why is that? That's because it is this bearish engulfing, and the bearish engulfing is we have a little bit of an uptrend, we have a red candle, and then we have a green candle, a small green candle, and then we have a red candle engulfing the green candle. So this whole pattern is only triggered if we actually move past this whole shape below 31.56, and then very easily we would continue towards 30, I would believe, because it's kind of in line with this trough here. When are we wrong? Well, this whole bearish setup essentially is invalidated if we move above 33.28, which is the height of this bearish engulfing pattern. So which one is most likely? Well, let's have a quick look. We can see that the trend tools and the momentum tools are still bearish, but we also see that the stochastic isn't really giving us a bearish signal yet. So we are still moving higher. So what would be a bearish signal on the stochastic? If this white line, %K, crosses below the orange line, %D. Not happening yet. So I want to see an actual break before I make a call here. It is exactly the same on the NBP. Hey, not so fast. If you are finding this useful and if you need to know what the TTF front month is up to intraday, if you need to know what the NBP front month is doing, what the seasons are doing, what's happening on EUAs and where will Brent go, well, if that is interesting to you, then you might be interested in the Clever Markets services. So go check out clevermarkets.com or find me on LinkedIn. I help energy trading firms with setting up technical analysis from day one. No need to hire, train, and manage any of your own in-house technical analysis desks. Just get your technical analysis subscription with Clever Markets. If you don't know where to start, let's have a conversation. See you around.